10 Euro-Coupes from the 1970s that look slow, but are secret monsters. Today we are looking at 10 Euro-Coupes from the 1970s that look slow, but are actually secret monsters. Cars that hid their true power behind elegant lines and quiet European refinement. These weren't the loud, flashy machines grabbing headlines. These were the quiet predators of the decade, slipping through traffic unnoticed until the moment the driver unleashed their real potential. In an era of fuel crises and tightening regulations, these coupes played a different game. They looked gentle, sensible, even boring, but their engines, tuning, and raw attitude told a completely different story. Push them hard, and they transformed from polite cruisers into road weapons capable of humiliating cars far more aggressive in appearance. So buckle up, because each step down this list reveals another unassuming classic that didn't just surprise people, it redefined what a sleeper truly is. 10. Volvo 142-242 GT. At first glance, the Volvo 242 GT looked like the last cars you'd expect to cause trouble. Square, sensible, and shaped like they were designed by an engineer with a ruler. But that's exactly what made them dangerous sleepers of the 1970s. These coupes carried the calm, responsible image Volvo was known for. Yet underneath that boxy exterior lived a chassis begging to be pushed. The 242 GT especially was tuned for sharper turn-in and quicker responses, giving it a surprisingly lively personality that caught many drivers off guard. Its firm suspension, upgraded dampers, and tighter steering made it far more aggressive than it looked, and sudden weight shifts demanded precise control from the driver. With a curb weight of around 2,590 pounds, the car was light enough to change direction rapidly, sometimes more rapidly than an unprepared driver expected, turning that innocent silhouette into a machine that punished sloppy inputs. Power came from a 2.1-liter inline-4 producing 123 horsepower and 119 pound-feet of torque, numbers that seem harmless until you realize how the Volvo used them. Thanks to its lightweight build, rally-inspired gearing, and surprisingly eager engine, it sprinted from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 9 seconds, with a top speed of roughly 112 miles per hour. Impressive for its class and era. What made it a monster wasn't raw speed, but how confidently it carved through corners and how easily it embarrassed cars that looked far sportier. The 142-242 GT proved that you don't need a wild design to deliver a wild drive. Sometimes the quietest cars are the ones plotting the loudest surprises. 9. Opel Rekord C Sprint Coupe. From the outside, the Opel Rekord C Sprint Coupe looked almost apologetic. A tidy, conservative family coupe with soft lines, thin pillars, and no visual aggression to hint at trouble. It was the kind of car people overlooked entirely, assuming it was built for calm commutes and relaxed cruising. But once pushed beyond that polite exterior, the Rekord C Sprint revealed a far more volatile personality than its appearance ever suggested. Under the hood sat Opel's 1.9-liter CIH 4-cylinder, tuned to deliver a surprising punch for its time. With around 106 horsepower and a lightweight body, the Sprint wasn't about brute force, it was about momentum. The car's relatively low curb weight and rear-wheel drive layout meant throttle inputs had immediate consequences. The suspension setup, simple and compliant on the street, could quickly become unpredictable when driven hard. Mid-corner bumps or sudden liftoff moments often unsettled the rear, especially for drivers who underestimated how quickly the chassis would respond. What made the Rekord C Sprint dangerous wasn't speed alone, it was how easily it lulled drivers into complacency. The steering felt light, the ride comfortable, and the cabin quiet enough to disguise how fast the car was actually moving. Push harder, though, and the balance shifted abruptly. Weight transfer happened fast, and the narrow tires offered little warning before grip gave way. Skilled drivers could exploit this liveliness, but anyone treating it like a harmless family coupe risked finding themselves fighting over steer with very little margin for error. Performance figures were modest on paper, with a 0 to 60 miles per hour time in the 10 to 11 second range and a top speed near 112 miles per hour, but those numbers failed to capture the real character of the Sprint. On winding roads where balance and responsiveness mattered more than raw power, the Rekord C could feel genuinely quick and genuinely unforgiving. It was a car that demanded respect, not because it looked threatening, but because it absolutely was. The Opel Rekord C Sprint Coupe wasn't a monster you could see coming. It was the kind that caught drivers off guard, a quiet, ordinary-looking machine that punished anyone who assumed it would behave as gently as it appeared. 8. BMW 2002 Turbo. The BMW 2002 Ti and Turbo looked like friendly little boxes on wheels. Upright stance, simple styling, and nothing visually aggressive enough to suggest danger. But anyone who slipped behind the wheel quickly discovered that this unassuming coupe was built to start fights. The TII's mechanical fuel injection made throttle response shockingly sharp for its era, while the turbo version added a level of ferocity that could catch even skilled drivers off guard with sudden boost and wheel spin. The 2002's lightweight body, just 2,226 pounds, meant it didn't just accelerate quickly, it reacted quickly. Every twitch of the steering wheel, every bump in the road, every late brake point produced immediate consequences, making the car feel like a live wire waiting to snap if handled without respect. The TII carried a 2-liter inline-4 with 130 horsepower and 131 pound-feet of torque, while the Turbo pushed out 170 horsepower and 175 pound-feet of torque. That was enough to launch the Turbo from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 7 seconds and send it to a top speed of roughly 130 miles per hour. Numbers that embarrassed much bigger machines of the era. But raw stats weren't what made the 2002 a secret monster. It was the combination of explosive boost, short wheelbase, and featherweight design that turned this cute coupe into a handful at the limit. A moment of overconfidence, a mid-corner lift, or a surprise surge of turbo pressure could turn a perfect run into chaos instantly. The BMW 2002 looked like a polite commuter, but it became one of the most unpredictable and thrilling performance cars of the 1970s. 7. Fiat 124 Sport Coupe 1800-2000. On the surface, the Fiat 124 Sport Coupe appeared refined and approachable, an elegant Italian two-door that seemed designed for relaxed touring rather than aggressive driving. Its clean proportions, subtle chrome, and understated stance gave it a friendly, almost polite presence. Few would have expected anything demanding from a car that looked so composed, but that calm exterior hid a far more involved and unforgiving personality. Under the hood sat Fiat's advanced twin-cam 4-cylinder engine, a design that thrived on revs and rewarded confident throttle use. In both 1800 and 2000 cc form, power delivery was smooth but eager, building speed faster than the car's appearance suggested. The engine encouraged drivers to push harder, masking rising speeds behind refinement and mechanical smoothness. As pace increased, the chassis began to reveal its true character. The suspension felt compliant during everyday driving, yet under pressure it demanded accuracy. Weight transfer happened quickly, especially under braking or sudden liftoff, and the rear-wheel drive layout offered little forgiveness for sloppy inputs. Enter a corner too fast or correct too late, and the rear could step out without much warning, forcing the driver to react decisively. On paper, the 124 Sport Coupe reached 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 9 seconds, with a top speed near 120 miles per hour. Respectable numbers for the early 1970s. But the real danger wasn't in the statistics. It was in how effortlessly the car encouraged drivers to overestimate its tolerance. Light, responsive, and eager, the Fiat felt playful right up until it crossed the line into instability. It was something subtler, a graceful machine that punished complacency, proving that elegance and danger were never mutually exclusive. 6. Saab 99 Turbo Coupe. The Saab 99 Turbo Coupe didn't look like a car built to scare anyone. Its soft curves, upright stance, and sensible Scandinavian design suggested practicality more than performance. But the moment the turbo spooled, this calm-looking coupe revealed a very different personality. The 99 Turbo was one of the first production cars to bring real turbocharging to the masses, and drivers weren't ready for how violently that boost could hit. Mid-corner, the power could surge unexpectedly, unsettling the front-wheel drive chassis and demanding lightning-fast reactions. The steering was quick but heavy, the suspension firm yet unforgiving, and with a curb weight of around 2,535 pounds. The 99 felt light enough to respond instantly, sometimes too instantly, to mid-corner corrections or throttle lifts. It was the kind of car that stayed polite until you pushed it, and then it became a handful capable of biting back without warning. The 99 Turbo carried a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, producing 143 horsepower and 174 pound-feet of torque, numbers that sent it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 8.9 seconds, with a top speed of roughly 125 miles per hour. But the real drama wasn't in the stats. It was in the way the power arrived. Turbo lag followed by a sudden rush of boost made the car feel like it had two personalities. Sleepy one moment, explosive the next. On wet or snowy roads, that surge could overwhelm the front tires instantly, testing even experienced drivers. The Saab 99 Turbo Coupe became a legend because it proved that a quiet, sensible-looking car could hide a wild streak strong enough to redefine performance for an entire era. It didn't shout for attention. It waited for the right moment, then struck. We're only halfway through, and the secrets are already getting wild. Tell me in the comments which one shocked you most, and don't forget to like and subscribe for what's coming next. 5. Alfa Romeo Alfetta GT 2000. The Alfa Romeo Alfetta GT and GTV 2000 never needed aggressive styling to make an impression. Their beauty was subtle, elegant, almost understated. But what that clean Italian design didn't reveal was just how sharp, demanding, and unpredictable these coupes could be when pushed. Alfa engineered the Alfetta with a transaxle layout and near-perfect weight distribution, which made it astonishingly agile, and also brutally honest. Every input from the driver was returned with instant reaction, whether good or bad. Sudden throttle changes could unsettle the rear, sharp steering at speed could send the car diving into corners with surprising force, and the firm suspension punished sloppy driving with snap oversteer. With a curb weight of around 2,380 pounds, the GTV was light enough to dance, but that also meant it didn't forgive hesitation or mistakes. Drivers expecting a soft Italian cruiser quickly learned they were piloting a precision blade, not a grand tour. Powering the Alfetta GTV 2000 was a 2-liter inline-4 producing 130 horsepower and 131 pound-feet of torque, enough to push the coupe from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 9 seconds and reach a top speed of about 121 miles per hour. The numbers alone didn't tell the story. What made the GTV a secret monster was how aggressively it delivered its performance. The engine loved to rev, the gearbox encouraged spirited driving, and the chassis begged to be pushed harder than most drivers were ready for. Lift-off, oversteer, mid-corner weight transfer, and that razor-like front end combined to create a coupe that rewarded confident hands and punished timid ones. The Alfetta GTV didn't need a loud exhaust or wild bodywork to prove itself. It let the driving do the talking, and what it said was simple: underestimate me, and I will surprise you. 4. Volkswagen Scirocco MK1 GTI, late 70s. The Volkswagen Scirocco MK1 GTI had the looks of a friendly little coupe. Light, clean, almost cheerful. The kind of car you'd expect to sip fuel and mind its manners. But the moment you took it onto a winding road, the Scirocco revealed a personality with far more bite. Volkswagen sharpened the chassis, stiffened the suspension, and tuned the steering to be hyper-responsive, giving the car a level of agility that could shock anyone expecting a mild commuter. Its front-wheel drive layout made it easy to push, but just as easy to overcook. Too much entry speed or a sudden lift in a corner, and the rear could snap out quicker than most drivers were prepared for. And with a curb weight of only 1,763 pounds, the Scirocco reacted instantly to everything: the road, the driver, and the mistakes. That featherweight construction made it thrilling in capable hands and unforgiving in careless ones. Under the hood sat a 1.6-liter inline-4 producing 110 horsepower and 103 pound-feet of torque, enough to send the MK1 GTI from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 9 seconds with a top speed of roughly 115 miles per hour. But the magic wasn't in the straight-line numbers. It was in how brutally efficient the Scirocco was at carrying speed. The engine loved to rev, the gearing kept it on the boil, and the chassis encouraged the kind of driving that made bigger, more powerful cars panic in the mirrors. Lift-off oversteer, razor-sharp turn-in, and that ridiculously light body made the MK1 GTI a true momentum monster. A car that looked innocent until it hunted down everything in its class. It didn't need big power to feel dangerous. It needed only a corner and a driver willing to find its limits. 3. Peugeot 504 Coupe V6. The Peugeot 504 Coupe V6 carried itself with a calm, classy elegance. Beautiful Pininfarina lines, a relaxed stance, and the quiet confidence of a grand tour. Nothing about it suggested danger. But once you pushed it, the 504 Coupe revealed a very different character. The long hood, soft suspension, and rear-wheel drive layout created a car that could feel settled one moment and suddenly unsettled the next if the driver wasn't fully committed. Its weight distribution demanded smooth, deliberate inputs, and any abrupt steering or throttle correction could swing the rear out faster than expected. With a curb weight of roughly 2,777 pounds, the coupe was heavy enough to carry real momentum into corners, yet light enough to react sharply when that momentum shifted. Drivers who mistook it for a gentle cruiser quickly learned it required respect. The 504 Coupe V6 was a dancer, but also a punisher of mistakes. Power came from a 2.7-liter V6 producing 136 horsepower and 153 pound-feet of torque, giving the 504 Coupe the ability to reach 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 10 seconds with a top speed of about 121 miles per hour. Modest numbers on paper, but on the road, the engine's smooth surge of torque and long gearing made the car feel far quicker than expected. What turned it into a sleeper monster was its Grand Tourer composure mixed with sudden bouts of oversteer if handled roughly. Long sweeps, uneven pavement, and late braking zones exposed the raw, unpredictable side of this elegant machine. The Peugeot 504 Coupe V6 was a gentleman's car with a wild streak, refined at first glance, but more than capable of reminding drivers that beauty doesn't always mean safe. 2. Mercedes-Benz 280 CE. From the outside, the Mercedes-Benz 280 CE looked like nothing more than a smooth, elegant cruiser, the kind of coupe built for quiet highway miles and luxurious comfort. But once you pushed it beyond that calm exterior, the 280 CE revealed a mechanical sharpness that caught many drivers by surprise. Its M110 straight-six loved to rev, the chassis was far more balanced than expected, and the suspension, and while soft at a glance, settled into corners with a confidence that encouraged spirited driving. The long hood and rear-wheel drive layout meant weight transfer happened quickly, and with a curb weight of around 3,152 pounds. The coupe carried enough momentum that late braking or sudden steering corrections could snap the rear loose faster than most owners anticipated. This wasn't a sleepy luxury car. It was a deceptively capable machine that punished anyone who treated it casually. Power came from a 2.8-liter inline-six producing 182 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. Strong numbers for the late 70s and enough to push the 280 CE from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 9.5 seconds, with a top speed of about 124 miles per hour. The engine's eagerness to climb the rev range made the car feel quicker than the specs suggested, especially on open roads where the M110 sang through its upper registers. What turned the 280 CE into a secret monster wasn't raw acceleration. It was the mixture of luxury, unexpected agility, and a willingness to rotate under pressure. Drivers who thought they were piloting a soft boulevard cruiser often discovered, too late, that the C123 had the heart of a much wilder machine hiding beneath its polished, respectable shell. 1. Porsche 924, late 70s. The Porsche 924 may be the greatest trick Porsche ever played on the 1970s car world. With its clean, almost delicate wedge shape and modest road presence, it looked more like an economy coupe than anything wearing a Porsche badge. But once the road opened up, the 924 exposed a side few expected. A perfectly balanced chassis, razor-sharp handling, and enough attitude to embarrass cars with far bigger engines. The front engine, rear transaxle layout gave it near-ideal weight distribution, making it astonishingly stable at high speeds and brutally honest in corners. At roughly 2,380 pounds, the car was light enough to flick effortlessly through bends. Yet that same lightness meant any mistake, a late brake, an abrupt lift, or a misjudged turn could snap the rear around with lightning precision. The 924 didn't shout for attention. It waited for the right driver to push it, and then it showed exactly why it deserved the Porsche crest. Power came from a 2-liter inline-four producing 125 horsepower and 121 pound-feet of torque, launching the 924 from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 9.5 seconds with a top speed of roughly 125 miles per hour. On paper, those numbers seem tame, but the secret wasn't straight-line speed. The secret was momentum. The 924 could carry unbelievable cornering speed thanks to its balance and chassis tuning, allowing it to chase down and humiliate supposedly faster rivals on real roads. Enthusiasts quickly learned that the 924 wasn't about brute force, it was about finesse, precision, and the kind of handling that made every corner a thrill. This unassuming coupe proved that in the 1970s, monsters didn't always roar. Some whispered, then struck. Some cars roar to prove their power, but the monsters on this list never needed to. They hid their strength behind calm faces, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. These 1970s Euro-Coupes were the quiet hunters of their time, machines that looked soft, gentle, even harmless, yet carried enough precision and danger to humble anything that crossed their path. And now that you've seen what lurked beneath their modest exteriors, the mystery deepens. How many more slow-looking classics out there are actually waiting to surprise you? Before you go, I want to know, which one of these sleepers shocked you the most? And if you were handed the keys to just one, would you trust it completely, or would you be afraid of what it might do at the limit? Tell me in the comments. Your pick says more than you think. If this journey into Europe's quiet killers pulled you in, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe, because the next chapter goes even deeper. More sleepers, more surprises, more legends hiding in plain sight. Turn on notifications